for me, if I am happy in the morning and I put on a flower dress, I might not be happy in the afternoon anymore. With the current fashion that we have, I'm still wearing that flower dress. So for me, the fashion that we are wearing and have been wearing is analog and not digital. It's not interactive. It's not living with us.
First, I would like to ask to introduce herself, Anouk Wipprecht. Anouk Wipprecht is a Dutch fashion designer and creative director. She has been working in the field of fashion tech for quite a while now, together with big companies like Intel, Autodesk, Google, Microsoft. I also remember AUDI. And I think what I personally think is amazing about her work is that she can transport emotions through clothing and also functionality that becomes very emotional. And I think that's also what big companies like to achieve and what they think is fascinating, I guess. Yeah, she combines the latest in science and technology to make fashion an experience that transcends mere appearance. So it's not only the look, it's also the tech. And yeah, that's why I'm so happy that you're with us, Anouk. It has been a while since we met each other. And yeah, thanks. And the stage is yours.
Perfect. I'm going to share some slides with this. Yeah, so Thomas, good to see you. And it has been a while for sure. Yeah, I'm a Dutch fashion tech designer. I'm living in America. I work here with yeah, a lot of the companies that Thomas mentioned before. You can find me under my name, Anouk Wipprecht. So yeah, basically I combine technology on the body and I look at the spaces around the body and also the body itself using body signals. But I look at the intimate, the personal, the social, and the public space, for example. And this is really interesting if you talk about yeah, fashion and especially fashion that is interacting or reacting in any way. So one of my dresses is the spider dress that you can see here. It works with proximity sensor. So when somebody steps in the personal space of this design, it's reacting. So it is mounting out. So the shoulders are circle based. And yeah, this design doesn't like it when you come too close because it is attacking. It's literally attacking because of the motorics that are built into this design. I sometimes show the electronics, sometimes I like to hide it. In the case of the spider dress, I really want to show it off, show them all the cables, all the wires, where everything is going. Also to be educative. For example, I do a lot with girls and technology, getting more girls in technology, let them play around with electronics and so on. So for me, the designs don't only need to be sort of practical, doing something, but also educational. Another of my designs is the smoke dress. It's a design of 10 years ago. It's based on another animal. It's the octopus. It pushes out ink and it can escape. The smoke dress yeah, measures the amount of people in the direct surroundings of the dress, and then it starts to yeah, put up a smoke screen. So it really mounts into the physical space around the design. And the last design that I quickly want to name is the robotic cocktail dress. It's more a social dress. It's a dress that really creates cocktail, and I think I have a little bit of problem with the movie being shown. But it works on a peristaltic pump, and it has a little push button. The liquid is in the back of the design. It pushes it to the front, and the model is basically surfing these strings. So you can see the back piece of the peristaltic pump, and then create them for Cirque du Soleil as an experiment in a restaurant. So my research is about if and when we combine technology on the body, what does it do? How can it become more social and playful, like the cocktail dress? How can it become more defensive and behavioral, like the spider dress? And how can it become more expressive and emotive, like the smoke dress, for example? So I have multiple designs. I have between 80 and 100 different dresses that all work differently, reacting to the body and surroundings. And for me, it is important that fashion works as an interface to express us, to emote us, and to yeah, to interact with us.
Great, thank you, Anouk. So so many things that you have done. Really looking forward for our discussion. And you have also worked with Viktoria Modesta, who is also here. Viktoria, thank you so much for being with us. Yeah, Viktoria is a bionic pop artist, and she's an independent multimedia artist, creative director, DJ, and supporter of future innovations. And she has kind of something that makes her very unique as an artist. When Viktoria was 15, she decided it was time to amputate her left leg, and that was due to an accident at her birth that damaged the leg. And she has made it to the catwalks of this world. She has a career as a pop artist. She's a researcher, and yeah, very, very interesting. And I think later we can also see, maybe we can have a look at your video, which is so nice. Maybe you have seen it before. And yeah, Viktoria, thanks for being with us. If you would like to introduce yourself shortly, that would be nice. Thank you so much. You're muted, sorry. 1 second.
Here we are. Yeah, no, you did quite a good introduction. Yeah, so I'm Viktoria Modesta. I'm currently living and working in Los Angeles, and I have actually worked with Anouk for many, many years now. And I feel like so my background really is coming into working with technology and design, starting with prosthetics and performance art. And then that's kind of really where it started before things got too techy in my world. But I guess my time at the MIT Media Lab as a fellow has kind of propelled, my understanding of how to use technology and design, as very much an artistic continuation and expression, which is something that I was initially much more familiar with working. So, in this sort of more recent times, I've collaborated on many projects with Anouk. Some of the, some were more experimental, like things that we did for Miami Art Basel, for example, and which really where my role was to take innovative design objects and bring them into a narrative so that we move beyond the demo, right? And some other projects include a project for Rolls-Royce, which we did, I want to say last year, but it was 2 years ago. This year has just disappeared. Where we, my goal is always to kind of really bridge the traditional kind of entertainment industry and the innovation industry together to, just bring more really cool stuff that's actually happening that goes below the radar for most people. But yeah, we can get a little bit deeper into that, as this chat goes along. But it's good to be here and with my favorite ladies on the panel.
Cool, very nice. If you don't mind, we could have a look at the video, because I think if there's somebody that has not seen your work before, I think it gives a very good impression. I could put it on.
Yeah, sure. That sounds great. It's nice. Just a little snapshot.
Yeah,
little snapshot of my work.
It's going on, but dear speakers, you cannot see it. Okay, welcome back. I hope the video was enjoyable. I think it's super impressive. Some of the videos got almost 14 million clicks. Super interesting. Thank you, Viktoria. We have another speaker. We have Natalia Modenova here. She's a founder at DressX, which is for me a symbol for the future of fashion, because we all want to be more sustainable. We want to dress ourselves, right? And we want to try out new dresses, new outfits, but we don't want to waste too much. So the solution of DressX is to go digital, virtual. Don't shop less, but shop digital. And yeah, thank you, Natalia, for being with us in this panel. And yeah, nice to meet you. The stage is yours if you want to introduce yourself.
Thank you. Thanks a lot, Thomas, for the intro, and happy to be at the stage with Viktoria and Anouk. Big fan of everything that you are doing. And here, as you can see, I'm already wearing something digital for this panel. I was getting ready to just show you what digital fashion is and how it can be used, because sometimes we at DressX receive the question like, but how do we use it? How do we wear it? And our digital presence and our digital personas are getting more and more important role and playing a bigger role in our lives and our social presence. And same as a wardrobe has always been a language, the digital wardrobe will also be a language. I would make the parallel here that before it was a lot of handwriting that was like writings on the walls in the ancient times, and then it was a handwriting recent times, and now it's all the typefaces. And the same process is happening with fashion, because it's also a language, but it's a visual language, how we communicate about ourselves. So at DressX, we built this solution where first you can overlay the outfit that you prefer on your still image. And with the launch of the app that happened last month, it's also possible now to wear digital fashion in real time on the videos. Through the app, it already works, and we can communicate like that. And something that I'm showing here, it's our next step, a little demo and little preview. Thanks a lot for this panel.
Yeah, thank you, Natalia. I actually downloaded the app. It was a little bit hidden, not easy to get the link and everything, but I tried it out, and really interesting. And the head is really nice. At first I didn't realize that it's a virtual one. Super good, super good. Nice, congratulations.
Thank you.
Great. So today I really appreciate the panel, because we can go really into fashion and not go too much into technologies as such. Yes, they are important, but I think we can agree that fashion is something emotional, and it's not pure function. It's also about desirability and how if fashion fits to our character, if we can use it. And yeah, I would like to start the conversation with Viktoria, because Viktoria, you're an expert in, let's say, communication, I would say, as a pop star, influencer, being on stages and so on. And I think many people will ask themselves, what is the career of a pop icon, pop star like yours? What were the most important milestones for you in your career?
I think that design and fashion, and I kind of use them both, because I think it's really important to not dilute fashion into something that is trivial. I think that the design of your silhouette is incredibly powerful. So, I think throughout my career, I kind of really, I really sort of try to use it in different ways, from more kind of traditional understanding, like for example, like Alexander McQueen and Matthew Barney used, design and fashion in a way of this sort of very transformative tool to, I guess, more importantly throughout my career, when it comes to really advancing sort of post-disability culture and this post-human kind of image of ourselves, that's kind of really been a sort of a big focus for me. And in terms of milestones, I guess, the Paralympic closing ceremony and in 2012 was definitely a big one. I'm so sad that it's just finished. I was supposed to be in Tokyo last year, but I had the opportunity to really sort of design something for a global stage, which was this diamond encrusted prosthetic that actually went together along with this sort of full body kind of diamond outfit, but I feel like, fashion just has such an immense power to transform how we feel about ourselves and how other people feel about themselves around us. And, and also I think it's something that really important that you mentioned, most importantly now, your fashion choices really represent so much about you and your beliefs and what you stand for. And I think, I'm very excited that people are sort of becoming more educated around, fast fashion, but also, I feel like this concept of sort of tech materials or this idea of just like advanced fashion that is beyond what we find in the stores is starting to become more mainstream. I think more people are because before, even like 6 years ago, when I used to go to future fashion conferences, it was really for a specific bubble of people, trying to create this change, trying to create innovative ways of looking at that. And, I'm curious how Anouk and Natalia feel about it, but I feel like the concept of tech wearables and smart fashion is becoming a lot easier to explain to majority of the people that I come across, which I think is just like a really great thing. And, so I think that when it comes to our panel right now, I really feel like the three of us, like cover all the important corners of what things are happening. And so more recently, which is one of the reasons why, I've been a really big fan of DressX specifically, is this idea of, how do we in a meaningful way sort of bring this physical world augmentation and our image into the metaverse in a way that, has some better values behind it, or, just inspires us to engage with technology and its possibilities. Which, from my end, we're working with prosthetics and kind of this space of medical lifestyle devices has been very easy. It's very easy to care about the impact of design and technology when it comes to solving your medical problem. So in a way, it's been kind of a lucky gateway of understanding that. But I can never do any of these things by myself. I always need to plug into a wider community who is at the forefront of this, which is kind of, a little pie slice that we have on stage today, I think.
Okay, thank you. That is a good bridge to Anouk, actually, because you work together. And I would like to ask Anouk, what was your motivation for the collaboration with Viktoria? How does working with prosthetics and fashion, how does that fit into your work? I mean, you're into robotics and so on, but how could your experience as a designer come into play in the collaboration with Viktoria?
Yeah, I can answer that. I think, Viktoria is super badass. We met each other, I think, maybe 8 years ago, I think, through Becca from Growmat, who is also a really powerful female in fashion. And this Victoria, her story really inspired me. I was working, of course, with sort of these exoskeletons on the body. And with Victoria, we can actually work within the space that is actually her physical body, that is her physical, like missing leg almost, you know. So for me, it is an opportunity to put a lot of like electronics in her leg, which is really fun. So we have been really challenging the possibilities, like letting Victoria stand on like really thin walls while the effect is happening within her leg where her bone normally happens and all of that stuff. And it's just, yeah, very fun to imagine these legs with Victoria, you know, and she's pushing me, and I always love that sort of, you know. So it has been a really fun collaboration. I think we made 6 or 7 legs or something. Some were more prototypes, but we're getting closer. We are trying to like 3D print a leg now currently. So there's always, yeah, some fun stuff happening when we're together, and also very pushing the boundaries of what things can be. And I think that's what I really love.
Mm-hmm. And Anouk, you're into the fashion design. It's very expressive, your work, but also into technology. So from your perspective, what comes first? Technology? Are you more inspired by technology? Or are you more inspired by a certain material form, look, or something like that? What comes first for you?
I think it's the combination of the technology, the fashion, the expressive elements, and everything together. For me, fashion is something that really expresses us non-verbally. But for me, if I am happy in the morning and I put on a flower dress, I might not be happy in the afternoon anymore. With the current fashion that we have, I'm still wearing that flower dress. So for me, the fashion that we are wearing and have been wearing is analog and not digital. It's not interactive. It's not living with us. And that is something that I'm after, in where the technology and the fashion elements really merge, in where it can express us and where it can live with us, and all of these elements, you know. And that's possible because technology has never been as small and as cheap before. And that really is a really interesting time to do these things with it, sort of.
Okay, great. One more question for you, Anouk. If your work is very, it's single pieces, I guess. Do you see any chance for commercialization of your work? Is there any collaboration with brands or something like that?
I've been working with a few companies on like some product kinds. There are still a few things that we need to solve. One is washability. Of course, the biggest enemy of technology is water. So how can we create washing machines that might not run on water, right? The other thing is energizing. You don't want to have big LiPo batteries on the body. So what are positions there? Sort of, you know, I'm using rechargeable 5-volt batteries, but the battery industry can also be of help here, sort of to create more organic, maybe round-shaped batteries that are more effective for the body. And then the last one is maintenance. What if I sell a design and it breaks, like your lamp, right? Do you send it back, or do you go to a robotic dressmaker? Mm-hmm. Or are you witty enough to recode it and reprogram it yourself, you know? Mm-hmm. That's why I'm interested in the do-it-yourself community. But definitely it's a new field. We still need a lot of help from the fields around us, and mainly it's washability and energizing battery and maintenance.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Great. Okay, yeah, we can if we have time, I would love to talk about these things later as well. But that also leads us to Natalia, because Natalia, your app might be a solution to bring exotic designs and all kinds of fashion designs that we have dreamt of to the masses, right? How does your app work? And can you tell us a little bit about the technical details of how you developed this app?
Well, yeah, that's true. That really can be a solution to democratize fashion and to kind of give access to unique pieces and unique designs to more people, just to discover and to get introduced, and also to become the users, because, for example, there are only 3,000 people in the world who are the clients of couture. And imagine how many people are actually seeing seeing the couture fashion week or couture shows. It's so much more people who don't have a chance to try anything like that. And here I just wanted to share the like a case study that that happened because for the launch of the app, we actually collaborated with the couture designer. Her name is Clara Deguin. She's French and based in Paris. So here you can see the image from her couture show that happened in July. And we digitized this dress. So this initial one is a physical one. And as you can see, it has some lights in it. So it was using the jacquard by Google ATAP technology. When you like touch the fabric and something can happen. So in her case, it's about the lights. It was also used, the same technology was also used in denim jacket by Levi's, where you could like use your denim jacket, you touch it and you scroll the music or you answer the phone calls, etc. But in this case, it was a light, and we digitized this. You can see the 3D model, and we put it in AR here. So this is the designer herself wearing it in AR, and some of the guests of the show. And it was available immediately after the show, so everyone could like try, wear it, and like feel themselves wearing a couture item. And this is a real kind of democratization of couture, especially because these particular items, similar to Anouk's designs, they are all one of a kind. And it's really like hard to replicate them. And there is a similar case with the singer from Ukraine who was like performing at the 30th ceremony of the independence. So she was wearing the physical dress. It looked like that, like really spectacular. I hope you can see my screen now, what I'm sharing.
Yeah, yes? We see it.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so there is a video. So that's really like, who wouldn't want to try this item? That's really great. And we also digitized it and made it available in the app immediately after this show, after this performance. So that's the way, and that's the solution. Of course, there are still some limitations because for AR, it's something that renders the image on your device, on your phone. And that's true, the phones become more and more powerful with every next release. But still, there are certain limitations. Just yesterday, we were like doing this project for Refashioned company, and they would use like digital items in AR as well. And you have to reduce the number of polygons. I don't want to go too much into details, but the fidelity is not the same, but it will definitely be there because like, yes, technology is evolving and pretty fast. But already now we want to show the possibilities and what will be possible and what is possible today. And this experience will definitely improve.
Okay, thank you. Thanks. Where do you see this going? Because I mean, fashion is aesthetic in a way that you also want to feel it, you want to touch it, that's textile. Do you see your virtual fashion more taking place in a virtual environment? Or is it something like you really useful, try before buy, you know, virtually? Where do you see like the impact of your app? Is it something that retailers should use, or is it something that online gamers should use, or is it something that friends should use?
Well, yeah, again, I love your questions because this is exactly what I prepared to share about, and I will show some visuals as well. So our vision is that digital fashion is an asset itself. It's not just try before you buy. It's not a try on. the content is important itself. And there is a statistic from Barclays Bank that 9% of purchases in the United Kingdom in 2018 happened only for the sake of content creation, for taking a picture. We know we worked a lot with different retailers, and I know that, for example, a lot of them complain that they are trying to change their privacy policy with the users, that if they took a picture and share it in social media, they cannot return the item, because this is something that a lot of people are doing. And why all these items should be produced, shipped back, there's like no way that it is sustainable for the planet and for the economy and for the business of these companies. So that's why we aim to transform this 9% into digital. We are not against physical fashion. This is not an alternative by all means, but this is an alternative for the certain use cases, and this is one of the use cases. Okay. And of course, like, yeah, gaming, your any presence in online through the virtual worlds, through the social media, through the video calls, this is something that that is here. But of course, adoption will take some time, and for now, fashion industry, traditional fashion industry looks at it more as a tool for the marketing. And I'll show the example how we made the implementation with the Farfetch.
Natalia, we're just a little bit running short on time.
Sure.
But it's very interesting. I think we should all meet in the networking session also, and there maybe we can find more time to show all the details.
Sure.
Thank you so much. Because we need to keep a little bit the agenda, the time slots.
Start it later too.
Because I want to take the chance to also go back to physical space and have a chat with Viktoria about like your experience also as an expert for prosthetists, and can you explain to us a little bit what life is and what can be improved? Because I think now you are so experienced with technology, you're using items, you have worked with Anouk. What would be your wishes, or what would you like to see realized next, from a perspective of a user of technology, so to say?
I mean, I think that it's slowly happening. Actually, I didn't realize that we can share slides, but I can definitely, I don't know if I can share. Can I share? Is that going to allow me to share? Can we see that?
Wow. Yeah. We see it.
Okay.
Yes.
Great. So no, it's just actually a little snapshot of just like sort of more of my recent work. I think there's a few things that come to mind for me. I feel that I've spent such a long time working on kind of impossible ideas in the real world, in terms of, trying to defy gravity and try to defy like what the physical body silhouette can look like and stuff like that, But I feel that, and Anouk will tell you, is that very frequently, there are so many limitations. You can only try something, an idea once. Once you start sculpting or making something, you really are in danger of just having to completely scratch something that took months to make and start again, So I feel that, when it comes to fashion, tech wearables, but also, medical lifestyle wearables and smart fashion, I think that the emergence of digitizing those items and testing designs and things like that is really just, where I feel like the floodgates are really going to open, so Natalia and Anouk and I, have talked about, various different things that can be done. And, when it comes to speculative designs, like I can't think of anything more impressive to be able to try than to try it in digital. Some of the, there's the picture on the left is a collaboration with a digital fashion designer called Ouroboros, who, are they're go as far as actually creating properties to these different digital materials that are being used for the garments, so that, you know, it has a certain you know, way of how it interacts when you move it around the digital space, you know, whether it's made like jelly, whether it has any iridescence, whether it changes, you know, so it's like, I think that from my career specifically, I really feel like I'm just starting to explore the possibilities of not being analog anymore, which is kind of what Anouk said, you know, because I do feel that, you know, from many years ago, you know, when I started, so this is actually a little extract from the work that Anouk and I did, you know, but many years ago, you know, I was kind of focusing on this idea of just redesigning the body, but it was in this, you know, it's really no different than when you get into designing your avatar. Like, it just really isn't. It's this idea of being able to have different building blocks. And so right now, you know, for example, you know, we just started working with my avatar, and here's like a little example here of, you know, my first baby steps into the metaverse as a digital self, you know, and the possibilities here. But you know, for example, just the other week, I talked to a museum about an exhibition next year that's a fashion exhibition about the history of American fashion, you know, and they're like, what would you like to do? And I was like, well, what I would love to do is to be able to present a full, you know, fashion ensemble of a prosthetic and an outfit designed together, and the digital representation of that with those exact files in, you know, with my avatar wearing me, you know, to really just kind of bring attention to, you know, the incredible possibilities that are out there to collaborate. You know, when it comes to, you know, Anouk and I have been at this for so many years, and only now are we getting to the point where we can start successfully digitizing my prosthetics so that we can actually design in 3D, you know. And the reality of something, you know, as unique as a prosthetic design and taking that to the market is so hard. It really is, you know. But I think that, you know, there is an opportunity here to look at prosthetics in a way that is, you know, much more about something that everybody can experiment, which is something that we all talked about, you know. And that's where I feel when it comes to, you know, expressing yourself with design and technology is not limited to the fashion industry. It's not limited to, you know, here's medical items, here's frivolous fashion items. You know, I do believe that us advancing with, you know, expressing ourselves with technology is the umbrella, and that can look in many ways, you know. But I'm not gonna lie, like, I'm extremely excited about the idea of being able to, you know, create smart wearables that link your expression and your health. I think that for me, that's like a really important space. And the idea of, you know, just, there is, you know, if I had to kind of talk a little bit about like the demographic that I kind of represent, which is somebody who is, you know, very active in the world, that, you know, has had a health issue, there is almost nothing catering to people like myself at the moment, because medical devices are really just designed to get you through that, you know, that time in a hospital or like whatever it is, you know. And the reality is that many people like myself are out there living like a full life. And I think that when it comes to developing that space, it's really powerful, because, you know, you're able to implement design and technology and really impact someone's lifestyle so dramatically. I just really want more people to get into it, pretty much. I think that's kind of like what my that's what my kind of statement here is, you know. Yeah, so
yeah. Great, very impressive. Also, like the whole avatar topic, very impressive. And interesting, Anouk, because Viktoria just mentioned that you want to take also your 3D designs into virtual space. What is your perspective from, yeah, you're more from making, 3D printing, soldering, and so on. What is your perspective onto these new virtual tendencies?
Yeah, I think it's fun to do both. To both have like physical aspects and also have things in digital. In digital, what Viktoria mentioned, you can maybe do really cool sort of science experiment or physics experiment, which you cannot really necessarily do in real life. Of course, I have an engineering background, so I like to solve engineering riddles in real life as well. But I do think that the digital space is very enticing because you can just do a lot of things, and a lot of things are explored there. And that is something that I'm happy to explore with both Viktoria's DressX as well, because I think it's it's really awesome.
Mm-hmm. Okay, great. And from your perspective, because taking it back a little bit towards the traditional fashion tech, Anouk, how has the fashion tech scene evolved during the last years? Because has technology improved, or is there completely new tendencies? What is your impression?
I think we have much more pieces of electronics that we can work with. We have a much better resolution that we can see, for example, brain signals, right? We have better BCIs, brain-computer interfaces, also different ways that we can detect heartbeats, muscle contraction, anything that goes on the body and also around the body, from LiDAR to proximity sensors to heat sensors. So definitely technology has improved, gotten smaller, so that's really interesting, and also got more cheaper, what I mentioned before. So and that makes for like interesting concepts. I think, as Viktoria mentioned, that a lot of people are already known to this idea, you know, fashion tech, electronic garments, robotic garments, and all of that stuff. So you see a lot of more traction coming that way. So that's really fun to see. Whether I started 20 years ago, there was none. Now the last 10 years, there was a big trend in 2012. Fashion tech really got pushed up sort of, and from there it was really rolling. So that's cool, and it's just a really fun field to be in.
Okay, great. And how has the market evolved? Because you have worked with Intel, Google, and AUDI, and so on. What is your impression? Was there a hype? Are we in a hype, or are we growing linearly, or what is the state of this whole fashion tech field industry at the moment?
Yeah, there was definitely a hype. I think from the hype it went more in products, what we call now wearables, the activity trackers and all of that stuff. It's not super my interest because I think it's quite boring. I think when it really truly becomes expressive is really interesting. I think a lot of people have problems with manufacturing that and are looking at how to manufacture, how to maintain, and all the other things that I already mentioned, sort of, you know, and that is a little bit where it gets stuck at times, you know. So digital fashion is kind of the interesting part there, right? But yeah, ideally they both live in the same realms, in the real life and also in the digital space.
Great, cool. Thank you so much. Before we come to the end, thank you everybody. It was super interesting to see all these different perspectives onto one topic. I want to ask you like, what will be the fashion trend of the year 2025, let's say, or 2030 or something like that? If we keep on developing, innovating in virtual fashion, in electronics, in connectivity, IoT and robotics, or in even stage performance, or new redefining what a pop art or artist is, what is your idea? Like, what would you imagine the world could be like? I mean, it can be a parallel universe. It doesn't have to be in our universe, but what would be your idea? Maybe Natalia, because you are in this virtual field, so active, it's maybe closest to the future. What do you have any ideas or wishes for the future?
Well, I think that two directions will keep developing, and they are very like on the opposite sides of the polar star and southern hemisphere. So basically it's a uniform idea that will be developing, and both in physical and digital space, and something that is out of this world, and something very personal, very individual, very customizable. That's another direction that will be booming, and here digital is perfect for providing the platform for expressing yourself. And yeah, that's what I would predict for the next few years.
Great, cool, nice. Anouk, we already talked about the latest trends, but where do you see it going with brain-computer interfaces and so on? Sounds interesting.
Definitely more like emotional, so the emotional side of ourselves we will explore. We think we express ourselves through Facebook is not always the most, it's always a very positive thing, but if our designs are really steered by our emotions, it's not only the positive and the happy vibes, also other vibes, so I think because of that we can get more true to our like sort of true nature, and that's why my interest is in body signals and body sensors. So that's definitely a trend that will evolve much more.
Thanks, Anouk. Viktoria, will you still be physical around and performing artist, or will you go pure virtual in the next 5 years?
Oh no, I think that it's really, I don't feel like they're ever going to sort of split, unless we have a forever pandemic, which I don't think we will, because but it's very interesting, I think that what happened recently and the way it's forced our physical body to stay in the same place for so long, it's really kind of highlighted that the digital life that we lead and our digital experiences are just as valid. Most of us have had to be in the same space for a year or so without being able to really live that physical life that we're used to, which is really similar to kind of my childhood and my understanding of it. And I think that I'm super excited about what's going to happen, because I think that with the idea of, even when you look at pop culture right now, this really heavy use of VFX and really sort of amping that so that, most of the people that we like or whose entertainment we watch, they're trying on these different silhouettes, these different bodies, these different fashions, and I think that the more we get our head around augmentation of our physical body and our image in general, I think that that's going to have a very positive effect, because I think for too long, the idea of us kind of having this shape and being able to just do these layers was just like so stuck. So, this very big kind of fantasy moment is coming. And, I personally really hope that the fantasy is going to just keep getting bigger and bigger, and that more people will opt for high performance, sustainable, kind of almost, like garments that, they love, that serve them for a day-to-day purpose, and, have more of these digital options to have them the wow factor. Like I don't want to have a huge wardrobe, outfits that I'm going to wear once. I always feel like it's a waste. So I think we're entering a really, really fun phase.
Beautiful. Thanks. Thank you, Viktoria. Thanks to all of you for these insights and for your ideas, and that you share your thoughts with us. Thank you so much.